Shemel Shai. Yahweh Shemel Shai. Barakatah Yahweh Shai. Barakatah Yahweh. Barakatah Yahweh. Barakatah Yahweh Shai.
Shah La War.
Surely the isles shall wait for me, and the ships of Tarshish first, to bring thy sons from far, their silver and their gold with them, unto the name of the Lord thy God, and to the Holy One of Israel, because he hath glorified thee. And the sons of strangers shall build up thy walls, and their kings shall minister unto thee. For in my wrath I smote thee, but in my favor have I had mercy on thee. Therefore thy gates shall be open continually. They shall not be shut day nor night, that men may bring unto thee the forces of the Gentiles, and that their kings may. For the nation and kingdom that will not serve thee shall perish, yea, those nations shall be utterly wasted. The glory of Lebanon shall come unto thee, the fir tree, the pine tree, and the box together, to beautify the place of my sanctuary. And I will make the place of my feet glorious. The sons also of them that afflicted thee shall come bending unto thee, and all they that despised thee shall bow themselves down at the soles of thy feet, and they shall call thee the city of the Lord, the Zion of the Holy One of Israel. Whereas thou hast been forsaken and hated, so that no man went through thee, I will make thee an eternal excellency, a joy of many generations. Thou shalt also suck the milk of the Gentiles, and shalt suck the breast of kings. And thou shalt know that I, the Lord, am thy Savior, and thy Redeemer, the mighty one of Jacob. For brass I will bring gold, and for iron I will bring silver, and for wood brass, and for stones iron. I will also make thy officers peace, and thine exactors righteousness. Violence shall no more be heard in thy land, wasting nor destruction within thy borders. But thou shalt call thy walls salvation, and thy gates praise. The sun shall be no more thy light by day, neither for brightness shall the moon give light unto thee. But the Lord shall be unto thee an everlasting light, and thy God thy glory.
All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I would like to give all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakakwadash, and double honors unto the apostles and the elders of GMS who rule well, teach well, being great examples to his younger brothers. And peace and blessings and salutation to the hopeful elect out there pushing his word in truth and in sincerity across the four winds in the name of Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, pushing to get up out of here. Shalom to the hopeful elect of believers and listeners whom have came back to the obedience of the scriptures through faith in Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai. All right, and what I want to get into today, is faith, in vain help, and trusting that heathens never work. Okay, and I want to get into some history, mainly with the Northern Kingdom, on how they will make alliances, with heathens, and they never work. And it just led to them being conquered, okay, and put into exile, okay. And what we see playing out now is an example of how our people, will make these alliances, okay, with these heathen nations, okay, and still, all right, be punished, okay, because this latest thing in Venezuela, as we, can look at it from a geopolitical, and also we understand that, the devil Esau Edom, America, Babylon, the Great is on the war path, all right, but the different dynamic, with Venezuela, these are Israelites, Okay, this is a tribe of Israel. Okay, and we have to understand. All right, our people have a history in making these alliances with the heathen and not being a ally with Yahweh Bashim Shai. Okay, so we're seeing what it looked like, back in the day. Okay, when our people will make alliances with the heathen, okay, and not with their power, and how it will play out for them, man. Okay, because as long as our people, are not serving Yahweh Bashim Al Shai, as long as they haven't repent, when our people are not in good standings with their power, it goes bad for them, because this was an embarrassment. What happened, and it was meant to be. You see, so of course, as far as we follow these things for geopolitics and prophecy dealing with war, all right, certain players that's involved, you know, are heavy players in this third world war. Babylon, all right, Russia, which is Magog, all right, China, Iran, which is Persia, all right. So we know that this is an escalation to the third world war, but it's also an example of our people trusting in, all right, the heathens, faith in vain help. Okay, so I want to get some precepts. I want to get a little history as well. Lord will I do one for the southern kingdom as well. Because they went down that path too. Before they was taken down by the Babylonians. You know, and what we're getting ready to see, is our power intervene for us. In a major way. Okay, we're really going to see the benefits of having the power in these times. Because the only thing that's respected, okay, by the nations of the earth is power, especially Esau, Edom. That's the only thing that's a deterrence, okay, to the devil is power, okay? And they knew Venezuela had no goddamn power, man. Okay, none of those southern, central, Southern American, South Americans, like Central or South American nations have any power. They know that. Okay, they know they can have their way with them. Okay, it says the name of the Lord. This is Proverbs 18:10. The name of the Lord Yahweh Bashim Al Shai is a strong tower. The righteous run into it and is safe. Okay, so we're really going to see that in action in these end times. When this devil gets ready to make his move on the prophet, it's going to go a different way. When he gets ready to come for the church, it's going to go a different way. Because that's what he's working his way to. Okay, he's even with these inner city jakes, he's able to just terrorize them, with ICE agents, and he's able to take his military and terrorize Central and South America. Okay, but when it comes to him making his move, all right, toward the church, it's gonna go different. Okay, now there are going to be martyrs, those taken and examined, and and beheaded, for their testimony. Okay, but that's not going to be the end all be all. There's going to be a standard lifted. Okay, that's not going to be the majority. That's not going to be the theme. Okay, when this devil comes for the church, man, there's going to be some power sent down from above. Okay, so the Lord is going to be a strong tower, and so the righteous run into it and are safe. So the Lord, opened us up to this wisdom, this understanding. He sent down the gift of faith, the comfort of the Holy Spirit, and we have the spiritual wherewithal to run into the strong tower of Yahweh Bashim Shai, which is faith and obedience to our power. Okay, that puts us within that strong tower, and I can get this precept enough, you see. Genesis 15:1, it says, after these things, the word of the Lord, Yahweh Bashim Shai, came unto Abram in the vision, saying, Fear not, Abram, I am thy shield and thy exceeding great reward. Okay? So even though Venezuela had those S-300s, those missile defense systems, then one of them get fired. Okay? Now, we have speculation that, the military sold out. Okay? Certain, leaders and politicians sold out and they stood down. All right? But who orchestrated it? Okay, beyond the CIA and the Mossad, who orchestrated that? The Most High, man. Okay, it didn't matter if they had S-800s down there. They could have tracked, those fighter jets, you know, coming from America, man. It don't matter. Okay, the Lord went with them. You see. So let's go to this word, shield. All right, which in the Hebrew is magun. Okay, which is shield, buckler. Okay, let me see. Yep, it says an arm, buckler, a defense. Okay, a shield. You see. So the northern tribe, or I mean Venezuela. Okay, which is of the northern tribe of Asher, they was defenseless. They didn't have their shield. Okay, so read this again. It said, after these things, the words of the Lord came unto Abram in a vision, saying, fear not, Abram, I am thy shield and thy exceeding great reward, man. Because with Yahweh by Shema Shah, we have all we need. And when we serve our power, these nations are subjugating to us. When we serve our power, we don't need to make no alliances with other nations, man. The Lord puts these nations in subject, and so He makes these nations subject unto us. Okay, King David represented a generation that was subjugated to Yahweh Bashim al Shah. Okay, they had faith and they obeyed their power. Okay, and the nations were subjugated unto them. You see? So we serve our power, we obey our power, have faith in our power. We in good standings with our power. We don't have to make alliances with no nations. All right. The reason why, they're in the position to even have to do that is because of disobedience. Okay. And this is just an example. All right. That we're being shown in the spirit. Okay. Because here it is. We just teach this word. We don't have to go make no alliances. No, we got Yahweh Bashim al Shah. Okay. This is our alliance, man. You see, and we was always told, okay, not to make these alliances with these heathens, man. Okay, that's why you go here, Deuteronomy 70, Deuteronomy chapter 7, verse 1. Uh, read this in NLT. It's the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 7, and verse 1. It says, when the Lord your power brings you into the land you are about to enter and occupy, He will clear away many nations ahead of you, the Hittites, the Girgashites, the Amorites, the Canaanites, the Perizzites, and the Jebusites. These 7 nations are greater and more numerous than you. When the Lord your power hands these nations over to you and you conquer them, see, it didn't matter about the numbers. Okay, it didn't matter about, their military prowess. Okay, the Lord had already said, look, I'm finna hand these niggas over to you. You see? When we in good standings with our power, we don't have to worry about nothing. Okay? We don't need no alliances, man. Economic alliances, military alliances, no. And the Lord finna show that through us, man. Like I say, we don't have nothing, okay, as far as in the flesh, carnally. Okay, but we have everything. That's why he said, I'm thy shield and exceeding. We have way more than enough, man. To conquer the enemy. You see, and that's why the Lord finna show so much power to us, man. You see, because when you try to, trying to see through alliances with the heathen and having your own military, the Lord can't show his power. You see, he won't. He got it set up in the latter times where he's going to show his power. Okay, through those that have nothing, as far as standing military and this and that. Nah, man, it's going to be through men teaching his Bible in faith and sincerity, man. Okay, that's going to be a mighty work, man. Okay, the odds are way, the gap. When you go into the odds of King David, all right, and Goliath, there was a hell of a odd. But now, in this time, the odds are way more, all right, offset, man. Okay, because the Lord finna show a lot of power. The Lord finna show a lot of power, man. Okay, it says, when the Lord your power hands these nations over to you, and you conquer them, you must completely destroy them, make no treaties with them, and show them no mercy. Okay, so the Lord was always against us making these treaties and alliances. Okay, with these heathens, man, because we had Him. We don't need no alliance. We ally with the ally that we need. Yahweh by Shemal Shah. That's the only ally we need, man. Okay, let's go here to the book of Isaiah, chapter 8, and then we're gonna get into a little bit of this history in the chat. All right, so you go to Isaiah chapter 8, okay, and verse it's heavy. Yep, this is Isaiah 8 and 9. It says, huddle together, you nations, and be terrified. Listen, all you distant lands. Prepare for battle, but you will be crushed. Yes, prepare for battle, but you will be crushed. Call your councils of war, but they will be worthless. Develop your strategies, but they will not succeed, for the Most High is with us. Okay? When we in good standings with our power, nothing the heathen do can phase us, man. Call your councils of war. Like Esau now, he got his councils, and he's planning to come for the prophets. And see, this little stint that Trump did, this is going to boost this nigga up to go with all his moves, man. In the near future, man. He's going to, hey, this devil, the Lord got this man so hyped up, he gonna go for everything, man. Okay, these devils getting ready to go for everything, man. So we know that we're part of their council of getting. They want to get rid of us, man. But see, everything that they plan is worthless. Call your councils of war, but they will be worthless. Develop your strategies, but they will not succeed, for the Most High is with us. So everything that this devil thinks that he's finna do against the prophets, because he's used to it working on everything. When he comes for the church, it's gonna be different, man. Because he's used to just dominating the earth, having his way, being this bully, man. Okay? Nah, man, the Lord gonna lift for standards against this devil, man. Okay, and then ultimately the Lord gonna send, all right, the bully to bully the bullies, man. Yahweh Shah coming to bully the bullies, man. Okay? Gonna make Esau, he gonna make America like a little boy, man. Okay? Easy work. Okay? It's gonna be easy work. America, Russia, China, all of them, man. Okay? But this devil, because he gets off on being this bully, which I'm not impressed with the bully. I'm impressed with the underdog, man. Okay? The bully don't impress me at all. Okay, I'm impressed with the underdog, man. Okay, man, I gotta read this again, man. It says, "Call your councils of war, but they will be worthless. Develop your strategies, but they will not succeed. For the Most High is with us, man, and with the Most High with us, man. Hey, these nations, they're done. We have the victory, man. Our power is with us now. And see, that's why I say we don't need to make no allies. We don't need to be tactical, all on the ground. You know, if you're familiar with, with a weapon, there's nothing wrong with that. You know, but we know no salvation in it. All right, you know, that doesn't even begin. You know, to get us out this situation, man. It's gonna be through the power of Yahweh by Shema Shai, man. Okay, so let's go here. I want to just tap into a little history, man, because you will have the northern tribes, all right, and the southern tribes did it too. You know, our brothers are doing a lesson to emphasize on how they tried to make alliances with the heathen. It went bad, all right. So I just went into, some accounts, all right, dealing with the northern kingdom, all right, making alliances with these heathens. So going to the background, says why Israel saw heathen alliances. After the kingdom split in 931 BC, Judah kept Jerusalem and the Davidic line. Israel had no Davidic covenant, frequent coups, and political instability. Because of this, kings relied on foreign power rather than the Most High. Alliances were seen as survival strategies. Prophets saw them as spiritual adultery, not just political moves, because the prophets will always be there warning them about that. You know, it says alliances with Egypt. Key text, Hosea 7 and 11. Ephraim is like a silly dove. They call to Egypt, they go to Assyria, you know, because the northern tribes, they would, uh, they will make these geopolitical alliances, man, and they trusted in those alliances to keep them afloat. Okay, Hosea 12 and 1. Ephraim feeds on wind. Okay, when you feed on wind, I mean, all right, they make a covenant with Assyria, all right, and the oil is carried away. You see, because when you read that in the let's see, this is we'll get there when we go back. Okay, well, if you feeding on the wind, try to eat the air and see how they satisfy you. Okay, try to go on the air diet. Where you just eating the wind. Okay, see how long you stick around. Okay, it says historical context that Egypt was no longer a dominant empire but still symbolized ancient power. Israel looked south for military backing against Assyria. Okay, spiritual problem. Egypt represented bondage and idolatry. Seeking Egypt reversed the Exodus theme. Trusting Egypt, rejecting the Most High, okay, as deliverer. So here it is, the Lord destroyed Egypt and delivered us out of Egypt. But Jake went to Egypt for help. How backwards is that? Okay. It says seeking Egypt reversed the Exodus thing. You see? Tripping. Okay. So going here, it says alliance with the Syrians, the most damaging. It said Menahem tribute in 743 BC. It says Second Kings, all right, paid Pul uh Tiglath-Pileser heavy tribute. He's a Syrian king. All right, Pileser the third heavy tribute funded by taxing Israel's wealthy citizen, man. So this Jake, all right, this Northern Kingdom king, he taxed his wealthy citizens of Israel to pay a heavy tribute to the king of Assyria. All right, and Israel became a vassal state, okay, to the Assyrians, man. Okay, and this account is in Second Kings. Matter of fact, let's see, let's read that, man. This nigga trick. And see, these niggas by the time before the Northern Kingdom fell, these niggas became real grimy. You know, they were just knocking each other off. You know, them niggas, you know, to be king. You know, the northern tribes got real grimy. All right, and that's how we know that this whole Venezuela thing. All right, there was some betrayal for sure. You know, amongst the ranks. Okay, because as the northern king became real grimy toward the end. To the no king really set the throne that long before the Syrians came. They were just knocking each other off. That was the custom. You know, they just had became real grimy niggas, man. Second Kings 15:14 said, then Menahem, son of Gadi, went to Samaria from Tizar and assassinated him, and he became the next king. Okay? So they were just knocking each other off at this point, man. All right, so the rest of the events of Shalim's reign, because they had got caught up into the geopolitics of the heathen. Okay, like they had this is when they was far from serving the Lord. You know, which they when they broke up on the Jeroboam, they went straight into idolatry, man. But this is just generations. You know, this is centuries of idolatry at this point. All right, and dealing with the heathen and moving like the heathen and all into the geopolitics of the heathen, and not the fear of Yahweh Bashim al Shah, not serving their power. Okay, so at this time they was all the way grimy, man. All right, and that's what you see today. These you know, these Central and South American, okay, countries, okay, they're all into the geopolitics of Esau. Okay, and that's why it's so grimy. It's a lot of, you know, corruption. You see, but when you engulfed in that arena, you gotta be a grimy nigga, man, because it's a dog eat dog, cutthroat, double cross, triple cross, all of those shit. Ain't no peace when dealing with the heathen, man. It says, all right, it said the rest of the events of Shalom's reign, including his conspiracy, are recorded in the book of the history of the kings of Israel. It says, at that time, Menahem destroyed the town of Tupua and all the surrounding countrysides as far as Tazar because its citizens refused to surrender the town. He killed the entire population and ripped open, all right, the pregnant women. Okay? Nigga, they were wicked, man. It said Menahem, son of Gadi, began to rule over Israel in 39 years of King Uzziah, all right, reign in Judah. He reigned in Samaria 10 years. But Menahem did what was evil in the Lord's sight during his entire reign. He refused to turn from the sins of Jeroboam, son of Nebat, and led Israel to commit. All right. So going back to Jeroboam, he set the standard of wickedness for the northern tribes, you know, which was paganism and idolatry, man. It said the king Tiglath-Pileser of Assyria invaded the land, but Menahem paid him, all right, 37 tons of silver, all right, to gain his support and tighten his grip on royal power, man. So they were going to the geopolitics of the heathen, man. You know, so he's paying King Tiglath-Pileser, all right, for protection. Okay, pretty much he's being extorted. Okay, so he's paying Assyria to back up his claim to the throne. Okay, so they were just on some grimy Edomite type shit, man. At this time, the way Esau moves, and this is what Jake was on. You know, and this is what you see. Like, you follow the geopolitics of today. It's the same thing that's going on, man. You know, coups and putting different kings on the throne. You know, this king is pro Assyria. This king is pro Egypt, and you know, and we're gonna say, Lord, will we get into the southern kingdom too? It says Menahem extorted the money from the rich of Israel, demanding that each of them pay 50 pieces of silver to the king of Assyria. So the king of Assyria turned from attacking Israel and did not stay in the land. Okay? So you see that Jake trusted in these alliances, okay, with these heathens, man. All right, even oppressed their own people to uh, uh, make these alliances, man. Okay? So what we're seeing play out is nothing new, you know. So let's go back here. It says Pekah versus Assyria, flip flop politics. It says 2 Kings 15 and 29. Assyria invaded, deported Israelites. Israel lost major territories. Partial exile begins. So Jake still lost. Okay? That same chapter we were just reading from later on down. Okay? They get invaded by Assyria anyway after paying their tribute. Okay? It says Hoshea's fatal double alliance. Okay, it says Hoshea submitted to Assyria, then secretly allied with Egypt. Assyria discovered the betrayal. Outcome: a siege on Samaria, 3 years. Fall of Israel in 722 BC. People deported, foreigners imported. All right, people deported, foreigners imported, which we had Jake, okay, the northern tribes being deported out of Samaria, and then the Syrians put, all right, foreigners, these heathens, okay, into Samaria. Okay, so all those alliances and paying tribute, and you say Jake was even serving the gods of Assyria. Okay, and it still led to them being finished, man. Okay, it never worked. You see? It says alliance with Phoenicia. Okay, it says Ahab and Jezebel, marriage to Jezebel, daughter of Ethabal and Sidon. Okay, and what did the Jezebel bring? Goddamn Hamite. It said Baal worship officially sponsored, prophets of, all right, Yahweh persecuted, temple worship corrupted, prophet response. Elijah confronts Baal, drought, judgment for covenant violation, man. All right, and the Lord sent the drought through there through Elijah, man. You see, allied with the Hamitic gods. Okay, it says alliance with Aram from Damascus. It said frequent wars and treaties. First Kings and Second Kings. All right, First Kings chapter 20 and Second Kings verses chapter 6 to 8. It says Israel alternated between fighting Aram, making treaties of Rome, breaking treaties. This instability showed Israel had no covenant anchor. Okay, it said prophetic interpretation, whoredom and adultery. The prophets did not see alliances as neutral. All right, the prophets did not see alliances as neutral diplomacy. Okay, it says Hosea's language. It says they are gone. Hosea 8 and 9 said they have gone up to Syrian, a wild donkey wandering alone. Okay, meaning Israel treated foreign nations like lovers. Political treaties on idolatrous trust. Alliances involve tribute, gods, rituals, and independence, man. Okay, and the northern kingdom just being turned out, man. That's why the scriptures say, where are all thy lovers? All these nations that, Jake was making these alliances with, just like Venezuela. Where was Russia and China? Because Russia and China don't give a fuck about no Venezuela, man. Okay, they was just a pawn, all right, in this war. Okay, they was just a chess piece that was dispensable, that was disposable, man. You know, they didn't care about the outcome of Venezuela. All right, they used it as long as they could use it, got what they got. Okay, that was it, man. They didn't have no interest in Venezuela. Okay, it's politics, man. Okay, it's a war. You do what you got to do. You see, Iran, ain't nobody showing up. Ain't nobody coming. Okay, and said why these alliances were condemned. Okay, Israel was forbidden to make covenants with pagan nations, adopt their religious practices, or depend on their military strength. Okay, final judgment of Syrian exile. Um, yep. So 2 Kings 17. Okay, Israel fell because they feared other gods, walked in heathen custom, rejected prophets, trusted nations instead of how about Shema Shai, man. You know, and it's the same thing that happened today. Okay, so these Central and South American nations, okay, they're all into the Roman Catholicism and the customs of the heathen. Okay, that's why they're constantly afraid. That's why they're for the takings. Okay, they don't acknowledge the prophets. Okay, so therefore they're taking, man. Okay, Esau can wait. Trump can go down there. The American military can go down there and just have their way. Okay, because the people that trust are not in their power. You see, it's a theological pattern, biblical theme. Alliance with heathen powers was a loss of identity, adoption of foreign gods, spiritual corruption, trust in empire, national collapse, rejection of prophets, exile out of there. Okay? It said the northern kingdom, big picture meaning, it says the northern kingdom did not just fall because of military weakness, it fell because they replaced covenant trust with geopolitical pragmatism. Okay? This is why they fell. You see? Because they didn't trust in their power. You go back to, the northern and southern kingdom, we stopped trusting in our power, we fell. And it's the same thing today. And we just got a live example of it. Okay, and Esau been doing this since, since he came back into power, just having his way with the tribes, man. Okay, but now there's a standard, there's a remnant, okay, that he's not going to be able to do that with. Okay, and the Lord got us in a perfect position to show that power, and I end here. You see, let's go here. Let's go to Isaiah 41. There's plenty of scriptures going to it, but this is the one that comes to me. Isaiah 41. All right, this is Isaiah 41:8. It said, but it's for you, Israel, my servant, Jacob, my chosen one. All right, descendant from Abraham, my friend. You see, so the Lord is still dealing with this lineage, man. All right, and there's a remnant of this lineage of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob who has awakened. And one of the promises he made to Abraham, our forefather, is that he will be our power, and we will be his people. So us awakening, and coming back to our power, all right, we're beginning to what? Inherit, okay, the perks that came with the promise, man. You see, and that's us having the power. You see, we're back allied with our power again. Okay, we don't need China and Russia and Iran and nah, man. We got our power back. You see, and that's a blessed. That's one of the inheritance. Okay, that come with that promise, man. Is the Lord being our portion, man. Okay, so I have called you back from the ends of the earth, saying, "You are my servant, for I have chosen you, and I will not throw you away." You see, and the ends of the earth is over here in America, in the Americas, man, the Western Hemisphere. Okay, because that's going to be the main place of destruction and the main place of deliverance. The deliverance going to be global, all right, and it's going to be the earth going to shake. It's going to be a global war, all right. But the focal point going to be right here in Babylon, the Great, okay, spiritual Egypt. You see, that's where the most power is going to be shown. All right, taking down the whore. Okay, and see, there's a remnant that he hasn't cast away. You see, verse 10 it said, "Don't be afraid, for I am with you. Don't be discouraged, for I am your power. I will strengthen you. Yeah, I will help you. I will hold you up with my victorious right hand, which is Yahweh Shai." You see, we have a help. You see, we ain't got to worry about the geopolitics and double crossing and the treachery that comes with dealing with that realm, okay, of Esau, man, and his geopolitics. No, man, we serve our power. We bypass all that, man. Okay, we serve, okay, Yahweh Bashim Al Shai. You see, and we already have a victory through Yahweh Shai, man. All right, he said, "I will hold you up by my victorious right hand." That's Yahweh Shai, man. All right, it's gonna come with that knockout, man. Okay, it says, "See all your angry enemies lie there, confused and humiliated. Anyone who opposes you, okay, will die and come to nothing, man." You see, and the Lord is finna humiliate these heathens, man, beginning with Esau, man. Okay, and then the Lord got it set up perfectly where these devils are just being built up with pride, man, just to be humiliated, man, by the power, okay, of Yahweh Bashim Al Shai, man. Okay, it said, "You will look in vain for those who try to conquer you. Those who attack you will come to nothing. For I hold you by your right hand. I, the Lord, your power. And I say to you, don't be afraid. I am here to help you." Okay, so we have a help from on high, man. You see, what you seen in Venezuela is a people with no help. Okay, powerless, nothing they could do. Okay, said, "Though you are a lowly worm," because right now, like I said, we're a worm. We're defenseless against, okay, our enemies, man. Okay, but when we align with our power, okay, we got the ups, man. You see, they're gonna be a worm to us. You see, it says, "Oh Jacob, don't be afraid, people of Israel, for I will help you. I am the Lord your Redeemer. I am the Holy One of Israel." It says, "You will be a new threshing instrument with many sharp teeth, man." Okay, the Lord say He gonna make His creature a weapon for the revenge of the enemies, man. You will tear your enemies apart, making chaff of mountains. They are these governments, man. Like the Lord gonna raise brothers up on the level, man. You see, you will toss them into the air, and the wind will blow them all away. The nukes, the whirlwind will scatter them. The chariots, they will. Then you will rejoice in the Lord Yahweh Bashim Al Shai. You will glory in the Holy One of Israel, man. And this, in the chariots singing the song of Moses, man. That victory song. You see. So now we got everything we need, man. Okay, we got more. Hey, we got more than what we need. All right. So yeah, just want to go into that, man. You know, faith in vain help and trusting in the heathen never work. Okay, and we just witnessed a live example. Okay, so Lord will, you know, you brothers, all right, and you sisters edified once again. We'll give all praise and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Kakadash, and double honors unto the apostles and the elders of GMS who rule well, teach well, being great examples to his younger brothers, and peace and blessings, salutations, and hopefully, shalom.